Hello, welcome to the brand new episode of SK Speak. In this episode, we are going to discuss the New Zealand squad with the very talented Adam Bell, who is a analyst as well, who has been running his podcast channel as well, and been talking about cricket a lot on Twitter. And also Zad and Shozab joined me in this video. Thank you so much, Adam. First of all, joining us, and I hope you are well.
Thank you for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to having a chat.
Okay. I hope shows up and that you guys are doing well as well. Okay, sorry, doing good as well. So let's just begin. Okay, Adam. First of all, I want to ask that if you just took a glance at New Zealand squad, do you think it's a good squad for the World Cup? They are playing a warm up match game against Pakistan as well. The match is very much live on TV in front of my eyes. But yes, Adam, if we ask you that any inclusion or exclusion would you want in this New Zealand side for the ODI World Cup 2023?
Honestly, I think this is the best side that they could have selected. Outside, probably Adam Milne, who I think would have been very close to making the squad, possibly over Lockie Ferguson, who hasn't been in the greatest form
Yes.
lately. And he's probably the only one that I could see really fitting in here. I think the team looks really solid, really settled, and really experienced. And I think the one thing that New Zealand cricket's been able to do is being able to keep a core of the team that were in the 2019 World Cup, but then also add in guys such as Daryl Mitchell and Devon Conway, who've been really good in international cricket since they've made their debuts for New Zealand.
Yes, I mean New Zealand's middle order is very strong, and they have that. Uh, they have that to bounce back if even if their openers fail to score much. Shows up and Zed, what are your opinions on the New Zealand squad? Any inclusion exclusion from your side?
I think it's a pretty good squad, as Adam said. Like they could have used another pacer, in my opinion. Like they only have Ferguson, Henry, Bolt, and Saudi. And Saudi is like currently injured, so we don't know how much of games he will play. So I think they could have used another pacer. Also, I think like um, they could have used another backup opener, maybe Finn Allen or something. I don't know, but Finn Allen has been like not in a very good form in ODIs. So I think Will Young is a pretty good choice.
Well,
For me, I think New Zealand squad, this squad is the best squad for them. The side with good bowling options, good batting options. Everyone is in good form. Like bowling is very good. I like the paces. Like Lockie Ferguson was a good at pace. Trent Bolt is my favorite one. But I am just scared about Kane Williamson. Today, the news came from the New Zealand side that he will not be playing the opener match, which is against I think England. So that is why I'm a bit
yes.
worried about the batting. But overall, the squad is very good.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's talk about the New Zealand bowling. I have just listed the top five bowlers for New Zealand since 2019 who are in the World Cup squad. Trent Bolt, no doubt, and Matt Henry have been two names who has been a very top top wicket taking bowler, attacking bowler for New Zealand. And there is no spinner. I mean, no Satner, no Sudhi. So, Adam, how do you rate your spin attack? I mean, if you talk about the Asian pitches, Indian pitches, you need a good. I'm not insulting by the way New Zealand spin attack, but they haven't in that form of late. Even if we talk about the a New Zealand series against England and Bangladesh. So, how would you rate your bowling attack? I mean, what are your expectations?
I mean, obviously, Trent Bolt and Matt Henry picked themselves, and they've been really good in ODI cricket. Matt Henry had a really good tour of Pakistan as well in April. And we know how great Trent Bolt is. But I guess the
Yes.
concern for New Zealand is Lockie Ferguson, who's been really poor since the 2019 World Cup. Like he was really poor in England. He got hit around the park, and I think that's a concern. Even Tim Salvey as well. Like he had a really poor series in England. And I see Jimmy Neesham always been, and let's be honest here, he's always been a guy that could go for a lot of runs. He had a really great 2019 World Cup, but outside of that and bilaterals, he's shown that he can be expensive. In terms of the spin bowling attack, it's interesting because Mitch Santner isn't really a massive wicket taking option.
Yes,
Um,
he's someone who is very economical in between overs and stopping the runs, and he is very good in line and length. It's very hard to attack him. But even if we talk about the Sudhi and Ravindra, they haven't been in that form, in that in that form that you can say that they might be helping. Who I was talking about, क्या नाम था यार, Sentner, who might help Sentner at the other end. So, what are your take on it?
I definitely agree with Ravindra. I mean, he's real inexperienced, and he's shown his ability to get or bowl the wicket taking delivery, but he bowls too many loose deliveries in between those good balls.
Yes, yes,
So I don't think you can really rely him as a frontline spinner. Ish Sodhi is really interesting because I feel as if he's been really good in T20 cricket. Yeah, I
yes.
feel like sometimes we confuse one day cricket and T20 cricket.
Formats, yes,
Yeah. So people are saying, well, he's a great wicket taker in ODI cricket. But I think like we're getting confused with T20 cricket. I mean, he got a 6 wicket bag, I think, the other day against Bangladesh, albeit against an understrength Bangladesh, and he has got wicket taking potential. But he again, like he can be quite inconsistent. I think he's improved a lot. I mean, he's shown in the Test series in Pakistan last year, but again, it's a different format. So do I think we've got a real strong spin bowling attack? No, I don't think we're overly strong compared to some other teams. But I also think with someone like Mitchell Santner, he's very consistent as well,
mm.
and he's
Yes,
someone that keeps the run down.
Mid sentence very considerable line in it. Also, Adam, I wanted to ask that can you see Philip or Chapman as bowling some overs of spin?
To be honest, I thought they might be given a few overs here and there, but then I started watching the warm up game and Glenn Phillips was opening the bowling, which was kind of my surprise, to be honest. Look, I think Glenn Phillips is such a great competitor that he might get a bit of a go, or more overs than what we think. He actually bowled quite a bit in England, and it was actually bowled quite well.
Yes.
So I think he might be a bit of a vital cog, and he's just that kind of player that just loves being in the game. So I could imagine him actually being a little bit of an underrated weapon for New Zealand in this World Cup.
Yes, can be the X factor for New Zealand, no doubt. Okay, Shozeb, what are your thoughts on New Zealand's bowling? If we talk about like their bowling stats in 2019 and overall their spin department, what are your thoughts? What are your expectations?
My expectations are particularly higher than every other because I know they have good potential in bowling because the fast bowling. I think Trent Bolt and Tim Southee, everyone know is not in good form, but I think he's got a good experience that will I think come in a few months of matches like in World Cup that it will help New Zealand because the fast bowlers can also provide such damage like Pakistan. They rely more on their fast
Yes,
bowling than their
yes,
spinners.
yes, yes,
Same as New Zealand, they rely I think more, but the spinners also got good talent like Ishtoti, particularly my favorite spinner in most teams like New Zealand. My favorite spinner is Ishtoti because he got good experience, got good varieties in spin bowling. Mitchell Satner is also very consistent, so I think it will work good for New Zealand. They rely more on their fast bowlers as compared to the spinners, just like Pakistan. But it is very important because the role of spinner bowlers is very important. So they need to
yes.
look
On the
forward to
Asian.
the spinners.
All right. And if we, as Shoza was talking about experience, New Zealand players have this experience of playing IPL as well on Indian pitches as well. I mean, they are familiar with the condition and the situations and everything. So it can be a plus point for them as well. Okay, Zaid, what are your opinions on New Zealand bowling and anything you want to add?
I think like their spin attack is quite weak, especially if we talk about Soti in terms of wicket taking. But I think Sandner can be quite economical, and I think they will also give some overs to and Phillips. Like he has bowled 5 overs in the first 29 overs in the warm-up game right now, so I think he will bowl in the World Cup as well. So while I think the third pacer might be a problem for New Zealand because Lockie Ferguson isn't in the best of form right now. So they will also like see how they will fit in Jimmy Neesham with like two spinners, and will they go with like four proper bowlers and Jimmy Neesham, or will they go with five proper bowlers and Jimmy Neesham?
Yes. Yes, James Nation might add some, balance to the side since he is a good all-rounder. Okay, Adam, the his New Zealand batting. If we talk about New Zealand batting, I mean it's sort of well sorted out. Even if we talk about the recent performances, they. I mean, Devon Conway is well settled. Tom Latham has that experience. I mean, he hasn't been in that good touch, but he has that experience. He's the highest run getter for his side since 19, and then Will Young is quite, I mean, concerning, but as he's very inexperienced for the rest of the batters. And of course, if Kane Williamson makes a comeback, it would be very great for the New Zealand. But do you think that it might be tough for Williamson as well, because he hasn't played competitive cricket since IPL, and it's not very easy to make a, you know uh, thumping comeback, and you just come and you're just scoring runs and runs. So, how do you rate this batting unit of New Zealand?
I think there's a really solid look about it. Um, I think there's a quite a conventional look about the New Zealand batting lineup that they've chosen for the World Cup. One of the boys mentioned Phil Allen not being in the World Cup squad, and I don't think he deserved to be in the World Cup squad. But New Zealand does lack a real powerhouse, explosive batsman at the top of the order. I kind of look at New Zealand quite similar to like Pakistan in a way. They've gone with quite a solid top order. Um, in
Yes,
regards to Kane Williamson, he is our barber. Like we rely on him a lot, and especially in the big
yes,
games, and
true.
and yeah, that's probably the only comparison I could think of.
Mm,
And to come back out off an ACL injury and then be hitting the form straight away is going to be really, really tough. Now, I think every fan always believes that your top player is a magician, that they've got something special, that they can just overcome anything. But they're human after all, and he hasn't played any games of cricket. He's not going to get many
exactly.
warm up games. And then we're going to expect him to do what he did in 2019, which was he was what I think he was New Zealand's top run scorer and one of the top run scorers in the tournament. So it was a massive ask for Kane Williamson, and he's not playing in the very first game, which means that I feel as if he's still a little way away from hitting peak.
Even besides his batting, he's a very great skipper as well. I mean, very intelligent and very calculated, and when he is on the field, I mean, very, very cool and calculated captain, you might say. Also, Adam, if we talk about Daryl Mitchell, he has been in very great form. I mean, he has been scoring runs, and I mean, he loves to score against England, and New Zealand first game is against England. So, what are your expectation from Mitchell, even on the Indian pitches?
I'm a massive fan of Daryl Mitchell. He comes from the region where I come from. Um, so and I actually interviewed him before he became a black cap. So I always follow him quite closely. I think none of his fans, or maybe even his mother, probably wouldn't have expected him to have this impact on international cricket. Like it's pretty incredible how well he's done.
Yes.
I sometimes pinch myself thinking, how well is he doing? Is this bubble going to burst at some point? Is he just going to keep this up? Because the way he's going at the moment, he could end up being a New Zealand legend. He's that good, and even in the T20 World Cup, we played that like blinder against England, and there's again England again. Um, but he also played well in Pakistan earlier in the year as well. So
Yes.
I'm expecting big things for him. He his probably his weakness probably is on spinning tracks. That's probably the only weakness
Spin.
you know.
Yes.
But apart from that, he's solid. He's got great pedigree because of his father was a coach of the All Blacks here, which is one of the biggest sports teams in the world. So he's got that competitive edge about him. So I expect quite big things from him.
All right. So, Zab and Zad, what are your take on New Zealand batting unit? Anything you guys want to add?
I think the only concern for them will be Kane Williamson. He, I think he will bat in today's warm-up game. but he won't be fielding. So I think New Zealand will be looking at this warm-up game to see how he bats. But I think, as Adam pointed out, Daryl Mitchell has been in like insane form. He has scored, I think, 2 to 3
Yeah.
centuries against Pakistan this year and batting at number 3. So I think like he can cover the gap Williamson left if Williamson doesn't play much. So I think it will be quite a good batting unit. But the only thing I'm concerned with is will they play like Chapman down the order or Nisham? I think they will
Nation.
have to choose one of them.
Um, okay. Shows up. What are your views?
I think New Zealand batting is good. Their top order is good. Tom Latham is scoring, I think, most of the runs for New Zealand. And Darren Mitchell, as Adam talked and Zach talked, that he's a good player. And down the order, they have got some explosive batsmen like Glenn Phillips and Mark Chapman, Jimmy Neesham. So they got quite well batting, but as everyone talked about Kevin Williamson, I am also a bit scared about Kane Williamson because he will be only batting, not fielding, and the first opener match he will not be playing. So after such injury and after a comeback of so much time you have missing the games, then you come straight into the World Cup. It is
Yes.
difficult to come back, but I hope just the caliber which is his player. He's a good player, he's in the Fab Four, which everyone talks about. So like Adam talked that he's a barber for the New Zealand team. So
True.
we are also expecting very well from Kane Williamson. So I hope that Kane Williamson will perform, and it's a quite well batting order for New Zealand squad.
Exactly, and it might be the very last World Cup for the Kane Williamson. So we just hope that he makes a comeback and he scores runs. Of course, not against Pakistan, but yeah, love to see him scoring runs. Okay, Adam, he just New Zealand scored. What are you playing 11 for against England? Your first match, your very first match.
Ooh, well, this is a bit cool because without looking at the pitch and just thinking about possibly what they might go with.
Just go
Uh,
on vibes.
okay. So we're gonna go Conway, Mitchell. Not Mitchell. Sorry, Young. Chapman at 3, Mitchell at 4, Latham at 5, Glenn Phillips at 6, Mitchell Satner at 7, Sodhi 8, Lockie Ferguson 9, and then Matt Henry 10 and Trent Bolt 11.
You would bat Chapman at 3.
I think that's probably the only option. I mean, Ravindra could probably bat 3. Um, I mean, there's probably the thought of putting Jarrell Mitchell up to 3, but then in the
Yeah.
next game everybody would have to kind of slot back down again. I feel as if the New Zealand selectors want to keep quite a structured batting lineup and then just slot someone in to replace Mitchell so everything's kind of consistent.
All right. Shows up. What bowling attack would you like of New Zealand against England?
England, I would like Matt Henry and Ish Sodhi, Tim Saudi, Mitchell Satner, and Trent Bolt. These five could be the bowlers, and with the
Trent.
all-rounder Jimmy Neesham. This is the
Yeah,
best
okay. You would put
bowlers can
Jimmy
they
Nation
could play.
ahead of Philip, right? Zed,
Yes.
who would you choose? Like your batting unit or your all rounder? You would choose Philip or Nisham or both. What are you? What would be your lineup for New Zealand against England?
I think the openers will be same like Conway and Young. At number 3, I think Darren Mitchell. Number 4, Latham. 5 will be, I think, Glenn Phillips. 6, Chapman. 7, Nisham. And 8, 9, 10, 11 will be the 4 bowlers, which will be Bolt, Sodhi, Santner, and Henry.
All right. Um, Okay, here's my question I wanted to ask Adam shows up and said, what who are the 5 players New Zealand would be relying on? In my opinion, New Zealand will be relying on like Mitchell, Phillip, Conway, Bolt, and Sentner. Adam, in your opinion, who who would be the top 5 players for New Zealand in to score runs, even if they want to win or qualify for the semi-final?
So 5 players.
Yes, 5 players.
Okay, Kane Williamson, Devon Conway, Daryl Mitchell,
I
Trent
Kane Wilson
Bolt.
is very doubtful, by the way, for the World Cup. And
Okay, if he's not there, um,
yes, I
okay, if he's
didn't
not
pick
there,
him,
if
so
he's
now
not,
I
if he's
pick.
not there, if he's not there, I'm going to go Devon Conway, Mitchell, Glenn Phillips, because I think we need some runs out of
Yes.
him, especially explosive runs at the end. And then Trent Bolt is a bit of a given, and Matt Henry.
Okay, 24. Shows up yours.
I think Evan Conway, Ish Sodhi, and Trent Bolt, Jimmy Neesham, and Tim Sodhi.
Okay. Zed.
Conway, Mitchell, Nisham, Sodhi, and wait, no, uh, Mitchell,
Yes.
Mitchell, Conway, Nisham, Bolt, and Henry.
Okay. Since Williamson is doubtful for the World Cup, so we have excluded him. Otherwise, of course, Williamson is very key player for New Zealand. Okay, Adam, it's time for prediction. Can you see New Zealand qualifying for the semi-finals? By the way, New Zealand is just a miraculous team. I mean, when you look at their squad and even recent performance, you might think that they won't be playing in semi-final. They won't be the top four. And when the event kicks in, New Zealand is the first team to qualify for the semi-final. I mean, wow, they're just like a Pakistan, as Nasir Hussain was saying the other day. So, what are your expectations from this New Zealand side? Can you see them playing the semi-final?
I think they'll be amongst the contenders to make the semi-finals. I know that's a little bit sitting on the fence. I kind of see England and India ahead of everybody else at the moment, and then I feel like there's a group, and I don't think Australia is as good as what people think. I think they're good, but I
Okay.
don't think they should be necessarily in the bracket with Australia. With India and England. And I feel like there's South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, and Pakistan vying for the semi-final spot. But also I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back to like it was in 2019, where it's between Pakistan and New Zealand to make the fourth spot.
So fourth spot.
You guys are unlucky because you beat us in the round
Yeah.
robin comfortably, and you beat two of the semi-final teams, and net run rate, which I don't really like. It should go down a head-to-head personally. But it could be that close. So it could be down a net run rate, I reckon.
Okay, Adam, let's choose a question. Tell me your top four semifinalists for the World Cup. I mean, go ahead. You said Australia isn't making to the semifinal. So, in your opinion, who can make to the semifinal? Like your top four teams.
I I was really controversial because if you know me, I support New Zealand, but my wife is Pakistani. So and the coach of Pakistan was my coach when I was a kid as well. So I support Pakistan and New Zealand. And I stupidly made a prediction just off the top of my head that both New Zealand and Pakistan wouldn't make the World Cup at
All
semi-finals, and
right.
it would be South Africa, India, England, and Australia. Um, Now, just putting that out there, I really, really want New Zealand and Pakistan to both make it. Um, so yeah, I will stick with my original four, but really hope that New Zealand and Pakistan both make it.
All right. Shodha, what's your prediction for the team for the semifinalist, and what are your take on if New Zealand can qualify or not?
I think New Zealand can qualify. They have the potential, and in all the tournaments, they look like the underdogs, but they qualify without knowing either. And they're usually the first team to qualify because they perform very good in the tournaments, the big tournaments, and they have really got good potential. Uh, about your question of four semi-finalists, I would love to see Pakistan, India, New Zealand, and England. They are my four
Mhm.
semi-finalists.
Uh, uh, what's your prediction, Zed?
think England, India, South Africa, and Pakistan.
Right.
New Zealand might be the fifth team. I don't think they will qualify.
The point is just you just can't predict anything about Pakistan and New Zealand. But if I talk about my gut feeling, it can be South Africa, England, Pakistan, and India. Okay. Anything else, Adam? You want to add or say something about the score in the World Cup, the venues, or anything else?
Um, as I was saying, like I hope I'm wrong about um, my four semi-final predictions. And again, like I actually, when I look at New Zealand squad, I always see kind of similarities with the like what Pakistan have done. Saying in terms of like a really solid like top order, um, and I feel as if like it could come down to those two teams to make that final semi-final spot again.
Yes.
And I even look at someone like Ishsodi versus Usama Mir, both kind of like tall spinners that bowl, with a quick pace. Um, so yeah, and there's a lot, and obviously, Trent Bolt versus Shaheen Shah, and I
Yes.
mean, it's quite interesting. And obviously, I follow those teams very, very closely. So I really hope that both of them somehow make the top four. I mean, I'd love to, but not play each
Hopefully.
other
Fingers
and
crossed.
not play each other in the semi-finals, eh?
Exactly. By the way, Adam, you said you are a big fan of Pakistan. By the way, who is your favorite player? I mean, just the random question. Besides
Except
Babar Azam,
Babar.
of course. Yes,
Yes.
Babar is just Babar is Babar. Besides Babar, who? What do you think about Rizwan? I mean, Shaheen Shah Afridi, or I mean, Salman Ali Agha. So. If I ask you that just a random question, since you're a big Pakistan fan, what are your top five players for the World Cup besides Babar Azam? Okay, just add Babar Azam. Tell me you're the four main players of Pakistan in this ODI World Cup they would be relying on.
Okay. So I'm a massive Fakar Zaman fan, and I actually think that Indian pitches
Yes.
could really suit him. I'm a massive fan. I think that I would love to see Usama Mir get some games in the World Cup because I actually think he could be like a bit of a surprise packet, but I don't think at this stage looks like he'll be playing.
Yes.
Iftikhar, obviously, huge fan.
Chacha.
Yeah, huge fan. I
That's
mean, yeah, I was
very
watching. I
good.
mean, India Pakistan T20 match last year, and I mean, what an innings! And then it's like
What
50
up?
mania everywhere, isn't it?
FC Mania. Yes,
50
FC
mania.
Yeah.
Mania.
So I think he's got to be huge. Like he needs to really fire. I think. Um, Rizwan again, he's been in great form in ODI cricket. God, I could go through every Pakistani player right now. Obviously, Shaheen Shah, the Eagle. I am so gutted Naseem Shah is not playing. I'm really, really gutted.
Naseem. Yes.
Real gutted. Um,
Great
I
bowler.
think, yeah. I mean, I think he's actually. I think he's a bit controversial. I think he's a little bit ahead of Shaheen Shah. I rate him that
Yes.
highly. I think he's
Yes,
great.
definitely.
I think he's great. I know in the media a lot of people talk about Shaheen Shah a lot, and he's great. But I'm really gutted that Naseem's not there. I really
Yes.
am. Um, but
And yes, I mean Naseem is someone who even sometimes even outperforms Shaheen and Rauf. He's very good and with the new ball. He's very good in the death overs. He's very consistent with the line and length. He's really well, like wicket taking option for Pakistan. So obviously, I mean, we were going to miss Naseem Shah. And even a very sad news about the cricket fraternity, as you were saying that you are going to miss Naseem as well. He's a very great prospect. So anything else shows up and that you guys want to add?
No, no, I think it's completely done.
Zed?
No.
Okay, so this is it. Thank you so much, Adam, for joining me. It was very nice hosting you. I really enjoyed, and hopefully, I mean, in the next episode, if you are available, I would be texting you to join us to preview the Pakistan squad as well, because since you're a huge Pakistan fan as well. So thank you so much, Adam, for your time, and we wish your team very good luck. Of course, noting is Pakistan. Go and beat rest of the sides. We have no issue. And thank you so much, Adam.
thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. It's sir.